What attracted me more than anything was striving for perfection.
Hi, I'm Bernice Chan with the South China Morning Post, and we're here at Gordon Ramsay's third restaurant. It's called May's Grill, and we got a chance to speak to the celebrity chef one-on-one. So Gordon Ramsay, thank you for coming and joining me in your new restaurant, May's Grill.
Welcome to you.
Can we go back to when you were growing up in Scotland? What was that like?
Growing up, watching Mum cook, it was about helping her, I think. She had two jobs. You know, she worked as a nurse at night and then a cook during the day. I only lived in Scotland until I was 5, and the majority of my childhood was Stratford-upon-Avon. And so we never had a starter, main course and dessert. That was never the case. But what we did have was proper, humble, rustic food, from the most amazing stews to great soups, to classic Sunday roast. And a steak, back in those days, was a big treat. So Mum used to run a little tea house in the high street of Stratford-upon-Avon. So she was a cook, but a very thorough cook in a way that it was never glamorous, but this place was just fully booked all day long. And it was a traditional British cafe serving sort of bistro food in the evening and a cafe during the day. And before football practice, and even after practice, I'd be helping her peel potatoes, cleaning up, in the pot wash, peeling onions, peeling carrots, and doing all the laborious jobs that was sort of unglamorous. But for me, it was just about helping Mum.
And when did you start to learn how to cook? Was that from her?
I was a great eater then, and I grew up becoming unfussy because it was almost rude to leave anything that your mother cooked. So it was that kind of household. At the age of 12 and 13 and 14, I never really wanted to be a chef. So cooking didn't really start until I was around 16 or 17. And then it was almost, quite scary being in an environment that you didn't understand properly. And you're going through those motions, understanding, textures, balance. And then when you're super busy, you just have to do stuff without actually questioning it. But if I didn't have that background from Mum and that understanding quite early on, I think it would have taken me a lot longer. So I got used to the hustle and the bustle quite early on.
So what did you like about cooking? What do you like about it so much?
I think there needs to be a natural connect to the vision. 18, you know nothing. You know zero. You may think you do, but you know nothing. Standing in Marco Pierre White's kitchen, I was 19, he was 25. He had just opened. This guy was on a mission for success. So I had one of the best mentors ever. After that, I wanted to become French, and so he suggested I went and worked for a French restaurant first. I got into the Gavroche. That then was 3-star Michelin. So early on in my career, I got looked after by some very big chefs that helped catapult me to the next job.
So what did you learn most from Marco Pierre White and from Albert Roux?
Marco taught me finesse. Marco could put food on a plate within 30 seconds and dress like Picasso. Albert taught me flavor. Albert was instrumental of taking a leek and cooking it 4 ways with no waste. Marco would use the white of the leek only and trash the rest. Albert, nothing went in the bin. And so I was lucky to get that kind of flair on the plate, but then the heart of the sort of French cuisine with Albert Roux was just magical. It was rich, sumptuous, but there was nothing ever wasted. And in business, you could be the best chef in Britain, but if you can't run your own restaurant financially, then you'd be a bit stupid. And then 22, I was begging to become French. I went and lived in Paris for 2 years. Again, every time I got into a new kitchen, I started at the bottom. Didn't go in at senior level, because the higher you go, the less you learn. And so I went to the very bottom every time I went into a new kitchen. And even leaving Marco, which after 2.5 years, going into the Gavroche, I could have got a senior position. No, start at the bottom, understand the tools in the box before you get given.
So you purposely wanted to do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I became a baker. It was the worst job in the house because you started Sunday night at sort of 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon and worked right through till midday on Monday. Then I perfected the bakery, desserts, fish, meat. And so for me, I never wanted to be in a situation one day, if I ever had my own kitchen, was not knowing what was going on. From desserts, the bakery to petit fours. I needed to know everything. But the dream job for me was at the age of 22 when I got into Guy Savoy in Paris, because there again was a chef that had won 2 Michelin star, was striving for that 3rd star. And when you meet chefs that are on that trajectory, climbing the ladder on a daily basis, it's the most exciting position to be in, because you're getting first-hand knowledge and new ideas, before they become public knowledge. So you're let into these secrets of combinations, and you're showing this passport of a menu that hasn't even been sold yet. So that was Guy, Savoie, and Marco were on that rise.
So when did you know that you wanted to open your own restaurant?
27, when Aubergine, Marco gave me a call, and there's a restaurant that his partner had that had gone into bankruptcy. He said, I have an amazing deal. You've got 25% of a restaurant. It's a little bistro in Chelsea. Are you interested? I was working at the Claire at the time for Pierre Kaufmann, running his 3-star Michelin. And I said, look, I've got a great job. He said, yeah, but this could be yours. And so I went and had dinner there discreetly with him one night on a Saturday. Claire was only open Monday to Friday, so I was off Saturday, Sunday. And fell in love with this little bistro. Literally, 45 seats, back beyond Chelsea. And it was on a little road called Park Walk. And it was an Italian restaurant called 11 Park Walk. And literally 3 months later, I borrowed £10,000 from the bank. I had the walls sort of finished with this yellow Mediterranean feel. Got a big table in the middle of the dining room. Got pumpkins and wild mushrooms and truffles on this table because we had no furniture. And opened up, this tiny little bistro. 3 weeks after being open, we got reviewed. And it was the Evening Standard, and he got 3 stars, I got 2 stars, and that was it. The place went crazy. 6 months later, we had Lady Di come for lunch, and Tony Blair, and so this place became a hotspot. And then 2 years later, we got a 2nd star. So it goes from something tiny very quickly to this phenomenon. But when you're inside those 4 walls, you don't really get to see much what's happening outside because you're too busy focusing, on making it perfect.
So do you recall the moment when you got the call that you got 3 stars?
When I opened Restaurant Gordon Ramsay in 1998, literally 20 years ago this month, 2001, it was the first week in January. London was quiet, we were fully booked, and there was a table of 2 on table 3. Jean-Claude said they looked very suspicious, and it was the editor and the president of Michelin. And the guide was coming out a week later, and we sent dessert, and then they asked for a word. I'm like, oh geez. And so they asked me to go through to the bar. I said, no, bring them through the kitchen. No, they want to talk to you in the bar. So, okay. So normally they'd come through to the kitchen and say hello and then disappear. They sat me down. Anyway, we're here to tell you that next week's publication for the 2001 guide, you're the recipient of 3 stars. And this whole thing just went silent. Everything around me just went silent. And they started telling me about keeping it a secret, but just for press reasons, you need to know this ahead of publication. And I just felt that this was all a dream, because I was looking with my mouth open, and Jean-Claude was hovering around, trying to eavesdrop on the conversation. And it was just that amazing moment when I had this huge amount of relief, but then fear, because I think winning 3 stars was a dream. Maintaining it, 17 years later to this day, is even harder. But the inspectors left, sent the last table, I locked the door, and opened up champagne for everybody and told them the great news, and they were just, they couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And so, 6 guides, 3 stars. It was a dream. I mean, a huge dream.
And did you think about doing reality TV? Like, how did you get approached for that?
TV then was not of interest. I never wanted to be a TV chef. I think that was the bugbear, in a way, that there's certain chefs that perform on TV that don't have restaurants because they are a TV chef, and the magic's in the edit. So when I did my first TV program, it was Kitchen Nightmares, and that was just going in to help a restaurant that was struggling. So it was a bit of a shock when it launched, and it was the first time you saw how badly run these places were.
And what was it like for you to be on camera?
I know, I didn't give a the cameras. I didn't stand there and sort of, hi, my name's Gordon, welcome to my show. I just, I was like a sniffer dog. Lead me to the front door, take me off the lead, and let me turn the place upside down. So I still get asked today, what's it like working on television? I don't even look at them. I ignore the camera. I think that's the most important thing. So the first series of Kitchen Nightmares went out and it was received well, and all of a sudden you're known. But I was known in the industry, and then it just gets bigger, and so the expectations are greater, and more people are out to criticize you. So in this industry, you become very thick-skinned, and you realize you can't keep everybody happy. And it's the same in sport. You can't please everybody. We try, and so you become very resilient. But I know how to cook. That's the most important, and I call it as it is. If something's wrong in the kitchen, and I think that's the one thing that upsets me still today in the US or in the UK. It's not like a doctor or a lawyer. Anybody can open a restaurant. That's the worst thing about our industry. You could have a dinner party Sunday night, and your friends say, "Hey, Mary, your food's amazing. You should buy yourself a restaurant. You should serve this food." They fall in love with the dream as opposed to the reality of running a restaurant. Running a restaurant is a business, and it's a business that is a very tough, demanding business to run and perfect.